Hello, everyone. A little weird way of doing it tonight because with what's happening, I am in the middle of boxes. I had to do some changes. So we'll try to be back to normal soon. But we've got quite a few things happening. How's everybody? I'm just going to hope everybody's all right. I'm going to try to, you know what? I'm going to do this change here. So this is the radio. And of course, this is another radio. We'll talk about both radios today. Anyways, sorry, there's a little bit of echo. I could hear it in my headphones. It's a temporary setup for the next, probably in the next couple of weeks. It's that or no live shows. So what do you guys think? Better have echo and weird look of what's happening or no live show? And there's a spot right here from one of the lighting systems there. And there's an update on Windows. So you know what? Let me do it like this. It's gonna you know what? We're gonna look at the radios in the back. Here we go. How about we look at the radios and the wall map? Even though it's a little weird. And even though I will need also new equipment in a upcoming episode. So let's do this and this. How about this? Yeah, that's not too bad. So how about this look, guys? Is that all right with you guys? Is it good enough? And welcome to the live show. We are live. Well, let me I got this sun in my back. So hey everybody, welcome to this live show. This is the weird looking live show tonight. But it doesn't matter. We're gonna talk about radios that are portable and can be actually be used in my hands. So welcome aboard. Nice to have everybody here, and hope that everybody finds the show okay. Oh God. Rob says good enough. David also says good enough. Radio background's good. Cool. That's what I want. There's a door. This is the door to hell. So welcome everybody. This is the Shortwave Radio Live Show in a very unusual setup because everything is boxes here. And even my corner desk is a hell of a big mess because what's happening here is not over. So I just have to live like this for the next 2 weeks before everything will be actually set up. And actually, you know what? Anyways, let's start with the introduction to the show. This is the Shortwave Radio Live Show. We are live twice a week. We talk about radio, shortwave radio in general, things that people think are dead. It's not. It's still alive. It's still there. And we still have tons of things to talk about. If it was dead, companies would not invest in creating new radios like this. And if radio was dead, there would not be Singian creating radios like this. And if radio was dead, well, there wouldn't be, once again, companies creating radios like this. So I think that shows that, no, radio and shortwave is far from being dead. It's a transition area. I think it's a transition period more than being dead or anything. So here we are live from Montreal, Quebec, Canada. We talk about radio, shortwave radio in general, and we are here to entertain and to listen to the radio. Tonight, we're not going to do a lot of listening. Lots of things happening and making it a little complicated. And we'll talk about radios. We're going to talk about interference from new 70-inch TVs, and we're going to talk about antenna setups that I'm going to try to make, because in the next week, it's going to be close to the 70s here in Montreal, close to 21 Celsius. Last chance, I think it's the last chance before winter sets in to set up something. And I decided to set up an PL-330 in a backyard. And I have a crazy idea that I don't know how we're going to do it, but I have a crazy idea of setting it that will be above roof level, about at the same place that my VHF UHF vertical antenna is. That also means that my K180 WLA is going to be offline for the winter. I don't really care. It's going to be, I know, this weekend is going to be like, okay, how do I set up stuff before? I mean, we got our first warning here in Montreal. Snow has arrived 2 days ago. It was actually all white for a day, but temperatures are going back up, so it's all melted today. Still traces here and there, but I mean, winter's here, and we're going to start thinking about that. So my name is Gilles, located in Montreal, Quebec, Canada. We talk about shortwave radio. We have live shows twice a week, Wednesday at 0 hours UTC, and yes, it's 7 p.m. now. Why is it 7 p.m.? Because UTC doesn't change, but we do a time change twice a year. That hopefully, if everything goes right, might be the last one next time. Let's cross our fingers and let's hope that it does that, okay? The other thing is we are on Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern for the winter, 0 hours UTC. That means it's Thursday for a lot of people around the world. And we are here on Saturday at 3 p.m. Eastern, 20 hours Universal Time. We talk about shortwave radio in general. And you have a big, you got to have a big blabbermouth guy like me that can talk and talk and talk without, just no end. And I hope you guys enjoy the show and don't find it boring at some point. So we're in an unusual spot tonight to get the radios in the background here and the shelf. One of the only things probably left that still looks good, because there's here on my left side, it's boxes everywhere. And the corner desk is a big mess. Hopefully before the end of the month, we're going to have that set up properly. And let's just talk about radio. There's a beautiful chat room with wonderful people that are here to help out. I mean, this is a great place. I think we can say that this is one of the best groups ever for radio and for just having fun with our hobby. Today in the Facebook group, somebody had I don't know. I got a short fuse, so I got to say to everybody, if you're tempted to do a religious or political comment on the Facebook group, don't go there, because my ban button is very, very quick. And it was almost there this morning. Almost at the okay, out. But I didn't. I took a deep breath. I know it's complicated right now, but that's another subject. There's a difference between, and let's just say this. There's a difference between talking about any radio stations you might hear. You might talk about, I heard British Stare here. I heard this religious broadcast there. I heard this political talk here. But one of the things that I don't want is, you can say, I heard this station talk about Republicans, Democrats, or whatever. But you can't say, That's why I don't listen to this station, because they're too pro Trump, pro this, pro that. I don't want that. I don't want that shit. That is shit. I'm sorry. I'm sorry about the word, but it's the only way we can describe what all of that is about. And this is everywhere. It's not just about, U.S. elections. So let's keep it radio. You know what? It's part of our hobby too. I mean, with the Cold War, imagine in the Cold War, you dealt with Radio Moscow's rhetoric on communism. You dealt with so many things. And let's just tone it down to, Radio XYZ was talking about politics. And let's just keep it there. No personal opinion about whatever it is. No, no why this or that or whatever or speculations. Let's just listen to the radio, okay? And there's a wonderful Facebook group. When the show is over, there's a Facebook group where everybody can join, and we can have fun and continue talking about the radio and just enjoy, a moments of radio and answer questions and just be a happy radio guy and just don't care about the rest, radio listening, radio propagation. So here's cheers, vodka and cranberry juice. And talk about the radio tonight a little more. So welcome aboard, everybody. It's nice to have everyone on board. Matt, MDK2, nice to have you on board. You'd be in and out because it's now, the time change is kind of changes also the time when everybody sees this show by 1 hour. So it could be, in and out and not necessarily the best situation. But hopefully you can watch at least part of it. Bobby Burgess, WA5107 SWL in Louisiana, USA. Dr. Sisop, what happened? You okay? Yeah, well, I had the Halloween show, which was actually a lot of fun. I had a great time with the Halloween show, and it was really, really cool on Saturday. And, it came this close to not happening. So what's happening here is very complicated. It's like I took this opportunity to start shift everything. So one of the apartments in the building has bed bugs. That means that exterminators came in every apartment. And that means that I had to scramble my office completely and the rest of the house anyways. So every part of my home right now looks like a zone, a war zone, with boxes, with all of the shelves, all of the things moved from the wall, so that because they're going to come back next week to do another treatment for to make sure that it doesn't spread anywhere. I'm lucky I don't have any bed bugs, and I don't want any of those. So at least things are taken care of. So it makes it complicated for me to do live shows because the setup had to be changed and everything had to be changed. So hopefully in the next couple of weeks, things are going to slowly come back to normal. But we did have a pretty cool Halloween show, actually. It was a lot of fun to do. So nice to have you here. David Miller, nice to have you on board from New Jersey. How's the FM bleed through? We're going to talk about that. There's no, I haven't had any FM bleed through, honestly. We're going to talk about that a little later. So what else do we have? Rob, nice to have you here from Phoenix, Arizona. Dr. Sisop is in the Cayman Islands. We have David, KJ4CMY, and likes the earlier time for this webcast. Now that we are on standard time, nice to have you here. Charles Williams, nice to have you here from San Diego. Larry Stevens, nice to have you on board from Newark, Ohio. Artisanic Crafter's Kitchen from Massachusetts. Nice to be here and take a break from the news. So remember the time shift. Yep, that's the biggest thing, remembering the time shift. David says, now I have to choose between Gilles and Alex Trebek. Which Canadian should I watch tonight? Me. Man, I know it doesn't make everybody happy, but you know, rock, paper, scissors. James Farley, nice to have you here from Old Bridge, New Jersey. What else do we have? Choosy people choose Jill, says David. Joe, nice to have you here from Virginia. David P. Miller says, dare to say Alex Trebek has been going downhill this season. After the GOAT tournament, it was rapid downhill. So the new season is hardly worth my time. And Jill has new radios. That's it. That's important for radio geeks. I got new radios. We're going to talk about different little things tonight. No tuning the bands, so don't expect me to tune the bands. I'm not set up properly to do that tonight. But we will talk about radios, that's for sure. 45 unit, nice to have you here. Brian Penny, nice to have you on board from Cape Cod, Massachusetts. William Helms from Florida, nice to have you here. We have Estrella Garcia, nice to have you here, Estrella. Joe Tyson, nice to have you here from North Carolina. Hi, Brawler from Arkansas. Pretty cool. What else do we have? Yeah, maybe my my headphones are set to high. I can hear a little bit of echo, but maybe it's not visible or audible because it's not visible. Audible to you guys. John McClure, nice to have you here. Dan V, nice to have you here from Ohio, and AWJZ. And my update screen is green, Dr. Sysop, because that machine is running a insider build. It's not running the regular Windows builds. It's actually running Iron Branch Windows 10, which is what everybody's going to see in a year from now. So that's why my screen is green. Donald E. Smith from Bermuda. Nice to have you here. Larry Stevens says, no echo here, but radio background good. That's good. That's good. Bobby says, no SDR ring, use your regular radios. Yep, absolutely. Mohammad Hayan, nice to have you here from Balochistan. Where's that? Chuck Yunkin, nice to have you on board. Well, because everything needs to be messed up, Chuck, you know what? At the same time, that's exactly what I'm doing. Totally remodeling the radio room. So, you know, if I have to move everything, because this, so for, I live in a two-bedroom apartment, and been here for 20 years. And you can imagine in 20 years, you pick up stuff here and there, you know. And I remember when I moved here 20 years ago, I told myself I would not be moving from here for a really long time, because that moving to here was really complex. The place I had lived before, I was there. I was living with my mom, because I'm. So what happened is my parent divorced. My mom didn't know where to go. She was the kind of, you know, the kind of couple that the women always, you know, my dad was working, and my mom was the home. You know, she was taking care of the home. She didn't really know anything, and when it became really complicated, I moved, and of course, My mom was moved here with me, where I lived before, because it was the best thing to do. And so, it's a complex thing, because it's like you got to deal with that, and it was a really complex and very quick change. When I moved where I was before, it was a quick thing. It's like we had to move now. So it's like I took the paper, I look at ads, I saw some apartments for rent, chose one, we went to visit. Next day we were there. It was as quick as that, because it was very complicated. And of course, I lived there for, man, 7 or 8 years. I was a young 20-year-old guy, 20 some year old guy that didn't have an idea what to do in life. I had gone to, so I was working full time. I had gone to school. I had electronics. I had computer science. I had applied sciences, but I was at that time, kind of didn't know what to do. And when I see a 20-year-old ish um, adult, be it a guy or a girl, that looks at me and says, "Don't know what to do," I said, "You know what? Don't worry about it. I understood what I would do in my life when I was 30. Before 30, I had no effing idea what my life would be. I had no idea what I wanted. I knew I was a little different. I'm kind of a little messed up in the head with the way we do things. That's why I'm a YouTuber, and I do this, because you got to be a little crazy to be where I am. I don't think any normal adult would be where I am and live off of YouTube. I think that's you need to be a very special. I don't know. You need to be out of the regular mold of what society wants you to be, because society as a whole wants you to be something, you know, very specific. I remember being laughed at, because I remember when I was in high school, a teacher asked, "What do you be? What do you want to be later in life?" And I think it was this. I was in last year of high school before going to college, and everybody's like, I want to be a policeman. I want to be an accountant. I want to be a whatever. And I said, I'd like something related to science, but basically, I just want to be happy with what I do. And I remember the teacher saying, "Well, so you don't know what you want to be?" I said, "Well, I want to be happy. Let's just start with that. I just want to be happy. I don't care whatever I do in life. I just want to be happy. I don't want to be in a category. You have to be this or that, or you got to be that, or you know." I remember later in life when I started being self-employed as a tech guy, in when I moved here, actually, because it all coincided with this, and it's a very, I don't know if you guys want to learn a little more of my life. Maybe I'm going to talk about it a little bit. Um, so um, I remember telling someone, I said, one of the things that I think was a big problem when we were young, when in um, even before I was a teenager, they would all ask us, "Oh, what do you want to do when you grow up?" Everybody was like, "I want to be a policeman, a fireman, a electrician, whatever." And I remember looking at all the aspects of how they tell you what you want to be in life. I remember going to, um, I don't know what's called in English, but in French, we went to. So there's this guy, actually, in my case, was a woman that is supposed to tell you what you want to be in life. And I filled up I filled up the the application and the stuff and answered the questions. And one of the first thing that it popped up was, "Oh, you want to be a policeman?" Which was like, nah, no, I don't want to be a policeman. That I know I don't want to be that. That your thing is wrong. It's not giving me the right thing. I don't want to be a cop. I really do not want to be a cop. I mean, I respect the profession and everything, but I knew that for me, being a cop is not a good idea. And later in life, when I started being a tech guy, I thought, why didn't school identify me as, maybe you want to be a freelancer or a self-employed person? I don't know about what today is in school and when they actually tell you who you want to be, but I always thought, why didn't school tell me, you don't have to be one of those specific things. You could be self-employed in whatever you want to be. And, that was not something that was, nobody talked about, being self-employed. And, I mean, I had some great jobs. The last job I had before being self-employed was a great job. People would tell me, people would tell anyone, you're going to leave that really high paying job because you're not happy. Yeah, because being happy, I think, is the number one thing I want to be. And I'm not happy in that job. I mean, it's not that it's a bad job. It's just not what I want to be. And I want to do something with my life different. And I became a tech guy and I started fixing computers and I had my own business there. That's where it's all started. Where I understood that I was happier because, I mean, being self-employed is a tough one. You're not necessarily rich because you're self-employed, but I understood one thing is that even though I had less money, I was happier. And that is what I wanted. And, I was self-employed, tech guy and everything. YouTube came along, something that, when I moved there in 2000, YouTube did not exist. It's something I didn't even think about or do live shows. What's that? Come on. We're still using a real player to listen to some crappy audio in 2000 on the internet. I mean, and stealing music with Napster. But as time went by, so, I understood, okay, times are changing. There's a lot of stuff happening. And it became YouTube. I have no idea why I'm here now with, the beginning of why all of this happened. But anyways, it's a big mess in my room and in the rest of the house. And I thought that what's going to happen with, if I have to move everything, okay, now's the time. So I threw away a lot of stuff in the recent weeks. And if I have to do all of this, well, why not? Why not take the time? Now's the time. I mean, this office, the rest of the house is not bad. It's manageable. You can move stuff around and everything. This office is hell. I accumulated so many stuff. I have so much stuff going around here that this office, when I had to move everything, it was like, oh God, please don't make me go through this. It's very complicated and not pleasant, and it's still not because I'm living in boxes here. So, of course, you got to take the positive side of stuff, and the positive side was, if I have to do this, let's change everything. Let's make sure that we move everything around and that we remodel everything. It's time because I have to do it anyways. So that's the long answer to a very short question. Chuck, are you remodeling your radio room? Keegan and XN80Xer, nice to have you here from Northwest Arkansas. DJK Solo, nice to have you on board. Hope you are well too. Long time. What else? Mr. Magic Man, nice to have you on board. Should I get a 660 or 330? I get a 660 because the complex. That's a complex question. The 330 isn't ready yet. Let's first say that. The 660 audio is probably better than the 330 because it has bigger speaker. But get a 660 for now, at least, or wait. But there's much better audio of the 660, that's for sure, because the speaker is much bigger. It's different. That's for sure. What else do we have? Hirofumi Yokoyama, nice to have you here from Japan. Nice to have you on board. Of the Dawn, nice to have you on board. 45 unit, repair question. Do you have any experience on using an ESR meter to check capacitors while on the circuit board? If you do, is there one you could recommend? I haven't done any electronics checks or repairs in such a long time. Maybe somebody in the chat room could help out and answer that question. Because I'm out. I'm not touching circuits anymore, basically here. Sidvic, nice to have you on board from Gander, Newfoundland, Canada. Dr. Sisop, Ontario and Quebec will be on standard time, not DST. Nope. Right now we're on standard time. What's going to happen if it happens? Because nothing's decided. If it is decided in March, we will go DST and stay DST. But it's far from being something that's going to happen right now. Because from what I understand, is that the state of New York, what Ontario and Quebec are waiting for is that the state of New York also agrees to stay put to that time frame. So that means if state of New York doesn't follow, probably Quebec and Ontario will continue changing time. So let's cross our fingers because it'd be fun. I think it would be nice. I think everybody's tired of those time changes, and it's kind of always complicated. There's a good side to it. I wake up at like 9:30 in the morning because I work from home. Well, time change made me wake up and get up at like 8:30 because my body clock is in the same time zone. The only problem is maybe I'm a little more tired because my evening clock is like, well, you go to bed at 1 a.m. You go to bed at 1 a.m. But, still. Thanks, Rob. That show's never boring. I hope. I don't want to bore anybody. Prasad, nice to have you here from India. Always nice to have you on board, my friend. It's fun to have people from all over the world and different types of ways of living and of thinking, and I think that's what's cool, and maybe that's what keeps us shortwave fans alive also at the same time, knowing that there's a big world out there, honestly. James Johnson from Chicago, nice to have you here. Northern Dawn, nice to have you here. Jeff King from Florida, nice to have you on board. Seacow 1970. I thought that was a model diesel train, but I can't see it. Is it? It's a Canon WD-40 up there. Absolutely. You see that? Oh, yeah, I see it here on the top. You guys can see up to the top. It's Canon WD-40. Absolutely. That's the can of it can do anything. WD-40. They should advertise that as this can do anything. Page Master, nice to have you here. KC5VOI, WA5136SWL in Oklahoma. James Johnson picked up a St. John HDR14 as a little radio. It is absolutely. We're going to talk about that today also, I think. I think we're going to talk about that today also because it's kind of really, really nice to have that for sure. We have Somaria 330. Nice to have you here. Northern Dawn. That's why we have. Yeah, you know, it's very political on the handbands on election night. That's for sure. And election week, pretty much. But it's been very political on the handbands, honestly, in the past couple of years. Seacow, I have all the stuff I need to do a clone of your room except all the red speaker. Except that red speaker. Where's the red speaker? Oh, that what? Oh, up there. So cheers, DJ K Solo with the beer. We're at 3:30. So last Saturday, a bit of after midnight, I was browsing the medium wave band and heard a station from Canada in French. It was quite a surprise. Oh, that's cool. That is cool. What is on the top shelf with the little screen? It's a Mac. It's a Macintosh Plus. Here is a Macintosh Plus computer from 1984, and at the bottom of it is a 40 megabyte hard drive, and actually boots up with Mac OS 7. The only thing is, I got a keyboard, I got the mouse, I got everything to have it working. The problem is the flyback in the Macintosh Plus is gone. So when I plug it in, it beeps and reboots and beeps again, and it's in a loop. It's a known issue, by the way. It's capacitors that are actually gone in here. I would like actually to have this fixed because it worked for a while. I found that Macintosh Plus in the snow many years ago. I was coming back home from a tech fix, and there was like 2 inches of snow, and that thing was there put to garbage. And I saw that under the 2 inches of snow all around. I cleaned it, opened it up, make sure that everything is all right, plugged it in. It works fine for, I mean, probably 6 months. And one day I turned it on to boot it up, and it just goes into a loop of beeps. And from what I know, it's the flyback of the screen that the capacitors are gone. So, but I'd like to have that fixed because I would like to have that back in working order. It's a black and white screen. So it is a Macintosh Plus computer running on a Motorola 68000 chip. And it has, like I said, underneath and in good working order, a 40 megabyte drive with OS 7 on it. It is so cool to have that old technology. Tristan, nice to have you on board and looking forward for the 330 breakdown. What else do we have? Zach Kalish, nice to have you here, says my wife making me prepare supper, listening to this in the kitchen while I cook. So don't burn anything. Make sure and have a good little lunch there. Prasad says, I will drink my drink virtually. Had acidity problems, and doctors say even tea, coffee are prohibited. Yeah, you got to be careful with that. I had a lot of acid reflux problems here, but I actually fixed that with making sure that I don't eat at least about 4 to 5 hours before going to bed. I have zero If you ask somebody, if you put a bag of chips in front of me, I have no capacity in not eating it. It's like, that's why I always tell everybody when people say, well, you buy chips. Nope. Why you don't buy chips? Because if I buy it, I'm going to eat the bag. So the only way I can do not eating a bag of chips is I don't buy it. I buy it from time to time, if I know, like, of course I do buy chips, but I'll buy it once every 2-3 weeks because I know I'm going to do a Netflix movie night or something, and I'm going to, indulge in a full bag of chips, for 40,000 calories in one evening. But in the regular thing is no chips, no cookies, no stuff like that at all, because I know that I don't have the capacity to not go and eat it. So not buying it is the best thing to do. You don't have it. But, as we get older, our body doesn't react the same thing. I mean, when I was like, 18, I could eat McDonald's 5 minutes before going to bed and it was okay. I remember when I was about 15 or 16, my brother was at home. He would go to university. And when he would work in the daytime, go to his university classes at night, and he would go to McDonald's, and he would always bring back a McChicken because that's what I liked. So he would always bring back a Big Mac for him and a McChicken for me. And it was so funny because it was like, you expected that, because I would go to bed, I would be half sleeping, but also thinking, my brother's going to be here, and he's going to bring a McChicken tonight, possibly. And of course he would do. But, when you're 18, 16, 17, your body just doesn't react that way. It's like you'll eat McDonald's, you'll eat crap, go to bed like nothing happens, and be happy in the next day. But when you're 50 years old, your body's going to tell you, really, man, you're going to do that piece of shit? No, it doesn't work like that. So you got to be more careful. And, there are things that you got to do to prevent it. Like I said, I had a lot of acid reflux. You got to be careful with very spicy or very fatty foods also. I try to, make a mix of stuff so that it doesn't happen, because I'm easy to go to crap food. So I try to do the best I can. Alien life in UK. There's alien life in the UK. Nice to have you here, my friend. Kamagzi76, glad you're on tonight. And I lost your post. I'm going to try to find it. Oh, God. Okay, here we go. Kamagzi 1976. Where is it? Where is it? Yeah, glad you're on tonight. Politics stuff is running me into the ground. It's running everybody into the ground. I mean, not just you guys in the US, everybody around the world. That's life. That's why we got to just talk about something else. Nick, K9XN, nice to have you here from Northwest Indiana. Mickey Delmage. I like to say it in French. I like that. Mickey Delmage. It sounds nice, Mickey Delmage, nice to have you here from Sherwood Park, Alberta, Canada. You guys are in for really cold weather, while here we're going to be like in the 70s. And the next week, I was looking at the weather today. I hope it's not too cold down there, because, man, crazy stuff. The cold weather and the snow, I'm a sucker for Christmas. And they, of course, have all the Christmas stuff in the stores. I had to actually resist not buying for like $200 of Christmas lights today for my upcoming Christmas tree. When I went to the stores, I was like, "Oh, look at that! They got the 24 pattern blinking lights, and they got that new set here that does this and that." And it's like, okay, relax, man. Okay, we're just November 4th. Relax, and you'll see. And actually, my mind had a nice side to it. My head said, you know what? Maybe they're not going to sell this really well. In a couple of weeks, going to be on sale for like 40% off. You're going to save money, and you're going to buy that crap to put in your Christmas tree. Oh, God. Nick, I also need a revamp of my radio room. Need more shelving. Always too much stuff. Will be interesting to see when you're finished. You know, what happens also, which is complicated, is will be 2 seconds, guys. I hear a meowing cat. Time to go. Time. We got a meowing Paul, which is right here on the floor. Mr. Paul is here. So hope you enjoy seeing Mr. Paul the cat, which is he's going into his chair because he's got a chair. He's got a chair right here. So he's going to go into his chair. And that's exactly what he wanted. So 2 seconds, guys. I'm just going to close the door. Because it removes a lot of the echo and there's less. There you go. Go in your chair. So, anyways, you know, I'm looking at what I'm going to do to make everything better. Dr. Sisop, I can tell you that if you'd see the rent that I'm paying, you would not want to have a mortgage. It is pretty decent, can tell you that. Page Master, do not forget EIBI updated their broadcast schedules. Also, do not forget that the Spectrum Monitor November issue. Absolutely. I haven't even looked at the Spectrum Monitor yet. And EIBI Space updated 3 times now, 3 to 4 times their schedules. Check it out because, I mean, the new winter schedules are in for sure. What else do we have? Peter Arison, guidance counselor. So a guidance counselor. Yeah, pretty much. You know, telling you what you're going to do in life. Pretty much. Nick wants to be a shortwave radio pirate. Yeah, me too. Let's do something about it. I have the equipment to do it too. Who knows? Matt says, my sister is a Jeopardy winner. Just 1 episode. But hey, it's better than most of us. Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. Just being on Jeopardy is like, you know. It's so funny because my Samsung TV has the Samsung channels and the apps, which is like, what is that exactly? So from what I see is in the US, it's much better than Canada. And Canada is very crappy. But one of the Samsung channels is Deal or No Deal. And it's just so funny because when I clicked the other day, it was Deal or No Deal. And the contestant had every small amount off the board. And all the 5 biggest amount, including the $1 million, was still there. And it was like, oh my God. But she had one amount, which was like $1 or something. She had one left and, you know, really small amounts. And she decided to go for it. And she opened all the big amounts and her case at $1. It was like, yeah, you're winning $1. Woohoo. Maybe you should have taken that $400,000 offer. rather than risk it. I don't know, but we're not there. It's easy to say when you should do this and not do that, but once you're in front of that camera and the TV, come on, nobody can predict what we're gonna do or think about. Come on, Paul. Allez. Tu vas-tu? Ouais. So Paul the cat is. I don't know if I can do this, but let's try. Let's try without breaking anything. Can I do this? Can I do this? Oh man. So, oh god, I'm not sure I can do it. Yeah, maybe. So of course you'll see all the boxes here, and Mr. Paul the cat is right here in his chair, saying hello. And of course, this is the big mess around the house that we're going to try to fix eventually. Hopefully in the next few weeks. So Mr. Paul the cat is in the house. Okay. Hey, Man Radio DXer. Good evening from Europe, or morning. Yeah. Nice to have you on board. Dr. Sisop says YouTube launch in 2005 went downhill in 2010 when people took over. Well, there's a lot of stuff. Okay, I'm just going to try to do something here. I broke my stand for the camera, so I'm trying to do something here to have it at least work a minimum. So let's just, here we go. I'm not touching anything. It's not my fault. Okay. What else do we have? Skip Davis, nice to have you here from Oklahoma. Mongoose, nice to have you on board from the Mississippi Gulf Coast. Enjoyed the Halloween show. Yeah. I mean, you know what? I had a lot of fun, and I liked the projections and stuff. I was trying to be creative because it was very complex to actually do something right now. And when it came to my mind, is like, use your projector and do some projections of Halloween stuff in the background. It's going to add something. And, use that sheet and make a ghost. We have, let me just go back here. Yeah, it's, did I say transistor or something? It's transformer, yes. DJK Solo remembers clipping Q503 resistor off his Navajo to boost audio. Yeah. Yep. Remember that. Crittenden Tuttle 4, nice to have you here. KJ7NUX from Oregon. JMLR, nice to have you here from Ecuador. Cool. Nice to have you here. What else do we have? Go here. WD and WD-40 stands for water displacement. Yeah, it's good for that. That's for sure. It's good for everything. It should be called, I don't know, WD should be for like whatever whatever you want to do. Oh man. What else do we have? Bill, nice to have you here. Also, same thing here. Vodka, absolutely. What else do we have? So did I say something else about flyback transformer? Maybe I said a resistor or something, but it was a transformer. So the flyback is gone. But the apparently what's happening is the capacitors are the ones to blame. So if you change the capacitors, the flyback transformer will work well after. Joe Michaels, can you please do a review of the Tecsun PL-330? There's already one on the channel if you search for it. Sometimes some people told me that I should actually redo some of the old reviews because of the updated knowledge and updated, more modern way of the channel of doing things. So maybe it could be a good idea to go back and use some of the old radios that I have and do a kind of a newer review. Maria 330, how do you like the Sangean HD radio? I love it. I should have bought an HD radio way before. It's a lot of fun, but I will add a different side of how it looks to it also. James Johnson just got the Sangean HD radio. It's real tiny, but very nice. It is nice. It's not a big radio, honestly, but it's very, very nice and surprisingly good. Keegan's considering the HDR14 for a portable HD radio. You're going to be happy because it is. I was looking at the reviews of Radio J. Allen, and it is rated really well. And I can understand why, because it works really well for what it is. I can tell you that. Brett Britton, new to the channel, left the videos, thinking about buying my first shortwave radio. Yes. Joe Tyson had an Atari 1040 STE and Amiga 500 back in the day. Cool. I do have both here, eh? The 1040 ST and the Amiga 500 are over there. And they're going to be working on the Sony 32-inch TV. Joseph Inkenbaum, nice to have you here from San Francisco Bay Area, California. And nice to have you on board. Joe Tyson still has the Amiga 500, has not booted in years. You have to use it, man. Still there. Hey, Joshua Gosnell, nice to have you here, Joshua. Flavio Franco, is FM is good in terms of selectivity. Selectivity is the radio that decides it, not the band or the mode. Remember that any radio, selectivity in a radio is what the radio is capable of, with the filters, with the way that it's actually designed. So selectivity is what the radio is all about, much more than anything else, honestly. Thomas Olson, what do you think of the PL-680? It's a great radio, but you have to make sure you got a version that is newer, so that if it's a little off frequency, you can actually calibrate it. Mine cannot be because I'm on the first version of the PL-680. But it is a nice radio. I really, really enjoy it. It's PLL synthesized, so it's nice. It doesn't mute or chuff when you tune around. Sing detection is decent. And pretty nice radio, honestly. Soul Calf, nice to have you here. Fillet of fish and fries, good hangover food. Yeah, that also. Hangover food was a lot of that crap, for sure. It does work too. I mean, all the times we went to the fast food joints after drinking, it was always better in the morning for some reason. PageMaster had the first game console, Magnavox Odyssey. Wow. I had Pong. The first game console I had was Pong with the two, little wheels that you turn the controller. Oh, man. Jim, nice to have you here from Rhode Island. Joe has the HDR 18 and HDR 16, and he loves the 18. Cool. I mean, Sangean does have good quality radios in general, and the small portable that I have here kind of shows quality, honestly. Jeff King had acid reflux bad. Figured I'd stay away from anything with high fructose, corn syrup, blah, blah, blah. No acid reflux problem at all. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we sometimes take bad habits. One of the biggest problems with that is our body can take crappy food for one day, and it's going to be okay. But when our habits include crappy food regularly, that's where our body is like, whoa. Mr. Magic Man says, what are your views on the Sangean ATS 909X? Also, greetings from San Antonio, Texas. The 909X is a great radio. I got one here. I like it. It has flaws like a lot of radios. You know, every radio has flaws. The fact that it's DSP, if you don't like muting when you tune around, well, it does have that. Compared to the original 909, that does not. It's funny because we talk about, when I look at everybody's take on how sensitive it is in its telescopic antenna or not. It's very variable. People don't have the same viewpoint, which is very interesting. How should I put it? So the 909 and 909X, okay, honestly, apart from the fact that 909X is very beautiful compared to the original 909, which is still a nice radio, apart from the fact that the 909X has DSP chip. So when you tune, you have muting. The original 909 does not. What I notice is the sensitivity is the same. So if you have an original 909 in good working order, you got as good as a radio as 909X, because I've seen people say the 909X is better. It's not better. It looks better. It's not better. It's actually a step back. Remove the very sexy look, because it's an amazingly, really nice radio to look at. One of the most beautiful radios I own, honestly. So if you remove that, honestly, and you remove the fact that it mutes when tuning, the original 909 is actually better for that purpose. No muting, but it's not sexy compared to the original, the new one, the X one. It is the same performance. Honestly, I see the same exact performance out of both radios. What's complicated with the because it's a touchy issue here. I see people not in sync with the fact that I saw a lot of comments when I posted it's still deaf on the telescopic. I got a lot of negative feedback from people saying, well, you don't know what you're talking about. Yes, it's deaf. It's deaf. Please, it's deaf. Okay, can we just say it's deaf? It's deaf. Compared to any other radio I own here, it's deaf. But let's be fair. It's not zero. It's deaf. It just doesn't get up to the par of a lot of portables today, but it still gets the radio signal. I think it sometimes goes with what I talked in the past. People pay high amount of money because, the Sangean's ATS 909X and 909 are expensive. Compared to most radios today, more expensive. And they get to a point, well, I paid $300 for it, so it has to be good, so you better shut up. I have a hard time with people that are in that category. Because you pay for something, you got to be good. I'm sorry, I'm not there. Okay, I'm here to talk fairly about a radio. That said, I'm not saying it's a bad radio, and maybe that's where, I don't know, maybe I'm not expressing it correctly. It's not a bad radio. It's beautiful. it will get the stations you want. On a long wire, performs amazingly well. It is a good radio. I think it's too expensive for what it is. That's where I'm at. If you own one, I mean, I like the 909X. I use it regularly. It will get the stations I want, but I know on telescopic, it's a little weaker than the other radios on that. But I'm not saying it's bad, but it's expensive for what it is. You're buying a sexy radio. Maybe that's where the money goes. 909X2, which was supposed to come out, but now it's like we don't really know what's going to happen. If they could fix that telescopic deafness, if we call it like that, maybe it'd be a good radio. Maybe it'd be a better radio. But before I would tell someone to buy an Sangean ATS 909X, I'd tell them to buy a lot of other radios. If you don't like muting, well, you got a $300 muting radio, roughly. It's, it's a nice looking radio. It is fine. It receives and will receive what you want. Especially on a long wire, but it's a complex world here. There's kind of a war of different people with different opinions on radio. My opinion is that, and it stays that, and it stays there. It's pretty much always was here, William Helms, no carbs except for chocolate milk. Oh, man, chocolate milk. I haven't had that in such a long time. Keegan, last time I ate a McDonald's chicken was in 2010. Mine was like maybe 6 months ago before they closed down the restaurants because of COVID. Joseph, has anyone noticed a drop in Stanag broadcasts recently? Not sure if it's just me. I see a lot of Stanag. Honestly, I can't say there's a drop. There could be also a shift because technologies are changing, so there could be a shift for some other technology also. Joshua, is C-Crane AM/FM radio with medium wave antenna good? For $70, yeah, you're going to have a great little radio. The speaker, the sound is a little crappy because of its small speaker, but the radio itself is amazing. You'll have airband, you'll have weather. For $70, you should get it. You're gonna have a great little portable. It's really, really nice. Skip Davis, I don't eat anything that doesn't spoil. McDonald's food doesn't spoil or rot, so it ain't real food. It does spoil. Come on. I should do a channel. Does it spoil or not? Oh, that'd be a good channel. Does it spoil or not? We're gonna buy fast food from every darn fast food joint and see if it spoils or not after a month. What does it look like? Here's a Pizza Hut pizza a month later. Oh, God. I'm not sure I want to see that. Oh, God. Joshua says, just looking for good AM radio for nighttime DX radio. Okay. Matt says, I think the IBI is putting schedules out that aren't complete, but is no longer saying 80 or 90% complete. Yeah, I remember when they did that, and they don't do it anymore. So maybe they're just, it's possible it's not complete. It's complex because I'm looking at WRMI, for example. It's such a complex mishmash of what is playing at what time exactly on that station. Mr. Magic Man is hearing Radio New Zealand 15720. And there's a lot of there's some nice sunspots on the sun right now. So pretty cool. Okay, what else do we have? What else do we have? Let's try to go down as fast as we can. We have. Let's check it out. Check it out. Okay, we have. Matt says I had to send my RSPDX into SDR Play because of an antenna issue. They got it quickly, diagnosed a fairly major problem, and are sending me a replacement at no cost. Cool. That's good. That's good service right there. Really cool. Really cool. Glad you sorted that really easily. Old Radio Man, nice to have you here from Northeast Tennessee. Dying of thirst. Dying of thirst. Do a boing so I can take a drink. So okay. There's no there. Yeah. Okay. Here. It's not the same arm, so it doesn't have the same richness in its boing. This is a cheaper microphone arm right now. Mad Reader DXer, I was intent on getting the Tecsun PL-330 as it looks comparable to the XH D808, but with the firmware faults you mentioned, I will wait until they are fixed. We're going to get to it in very, very short while because I want to talk about it absolutely tonight. So Jerry DX, nice to have you here. What else do we have? Page Master, we should do a boing game every time Jill bumps the mic. One crazy Nordlander. Nice to have you here. Thanks for the nice comments. Glenn Zegman, nice to have you here, my friend. What else? John Durham, nice to have you here, watching from New Zealand. And hearing CFRX Toronto. Wow. And most days between 05 and 07. That's nice. I mean, they're running only 1 kilowatt, 1,000 watts. It's a pretty good catch. Jeff K, nice to have you here. Got the Odyssey also. Joe Rodman, nice to have you here from Chicago. We're going to be warm also in the next week or so. William Helms at the Coleco football game. Oh, man. A lot of my friends had that, the Coleco stuff. Little game, portable game stuff. Northwest Georgia Radio DXer with autism says 909X more expensive than the Tecsun PL-880. And says my Tecsun PL-398BT is awesome on AM and FM. Cool. Hey, radios are sexy, Jerry DX. You know. Tony Turtle, nice to have you on board. Says she's so fine, there's no telling where her money went. Oh, God. Chuck CB Davis, nice to have you here, my friend. Lenny Ricky, nice to have you here. You're a very knowledgeable young man, very well versed in radio. Have a great rest of your day. Thank you very much. KO4DJT. Maybe we should put a shortwave radio with the background. You're sexy, it's sexy, and it knows it. Kimberly, nice to have you here from California. Marvin Motts, nice to have you here from the Japan Islands. Tony Turtles from Michigan. What else? Page Master, when I buy a radio, I put it through a battery of tests here at my shop. Kind of nice. Dr. Sisov, Skywave and airband. So you got a Skywave and airband gas FM bleed through. I don't have that problem here. That's interesting. You live real close to an FM station, Dr. Sisov. What else do we have? Let's try to go down. Go down. Joe says, I use my 909X from program listing, not DXing. I like that I can label memory banks. It performs good for me on the wire. You can improve reception on the whip if you use an AC adapter, but add noise. It's like I said, it's not a bad radio, and I mean, it does a certain job, and it's very nice. Like I said, it's one of the most beautiful portables that I've used and I own. I mean, there are bad radios out there. I don't put it in the category of bad radios, but I put it in the category where they could have improved that side of it. So, What else do we have here? Dr. Sissa, Pizza Hut is closing restaurants down soon. COVID put them in bankruptcy. I don't know. Here in Canada, they seem to be real strong. At least here in Montreal. Yeah, I know, Joe. But I don't want to power my radio with a power adapter. It adds noise to it. But I improve it. You can clip an alligator clip with 20 feet of wire, and it's gonna improve radios. So, Mr. Magic Man, no, it does mute. We're not talking about scanning. When we do manual tuning of the knob, when we manual tune the knob, it does mute. In SSB and single sideband, like a lot of the muting radios, it's not as bad. But if you manually scan the bands with the tuning knob, it does have muting. Yep, lots of activity on the sun, including one of the big sunspots right now, one of the biggest sunspots, actually. So it's kind of interesting. Tony Turtle says, greeting from Michigan City, where here was founded by a French-Canadian fur trader. So, As we have, let me just check it out here, and we're going to talk about radios. So, Mark Fisher, nice to have you here from Southern Illinois. Eduardo Montero, nice to have you here. Kelly Law, nice to have you here. No, we're getting to the PL-330 now, pretty much. What else do we have? Randy in Riverside, California. Nice to have you here. And any tips for a first-time shortwave listener from Canada? Colin Cook, nice to have you here. Where are you located, by the way? So let's start with the radios I want to talk tonight. So here's the Tecsun PL-330 portable shortwave receiver. Now, this is not an official release version. This is the Chinese market version. I had purchased the Chinese market version for a simple reason. It's that I wanted to have it and test it out as soon as I can. What do I think of it? Okay. And a portable radio is for the price versus, and it's very important to understand this, what I'm saying. Price versus feature versus performance. It's up there in the top of the best radios. That said, it has bugs that need to be fixed before this could become possibly one of the best sub $100 portables out there. I am enjoying this radio a lot. So this is an AM, FM, long wave, shortwave receiver. It does not have airband. So if that's one of your features you want to have, it doesn't have airband, okay? The most negative thing I will say about it is that it uses, unfortunately, a BL5T 5C, sorry, Bravo Lima 5 Charlie lithium-ion battery. Now, this one from Tecsun actually is higher rated than a lot of the BL5C receivers. What I've noticed is this gives you pretty much a full day of radio, so it works well for that. What would be maybe a downside is the small speaker isn't up to par for audio, but it's still okay. But if you would want to listen to a shortwave broadcast, to give you an idea, the XH Data D808 sounds actually better than this for the same broadcast, mostly because of the audio of the speaker. And I'm going to post videos of tests comparing all of them, so you'll see it. It has single sideband. This is really nice. Single sideband and a small portable radio. And it has precision in single sideband up to the 10th of hertz. That's what you see here. It can be calibrated. There's a downside to the calibration. The calibration is nice. It's going to work in band. But unfortunately, if I, when I calibrate the Tecsun PL-330X, this radio will pretty much hold its calibration everywhere. So if I calibrate it on 5 megahertz, if I tune a signal in 20 meter band on 14 megahertz, it's still going to be fairly calibrated and going to be okay. Unfortunately, the PL-330 right now, if I calibrate it on 5 megahertz, I might need to recalibrate it if I tune the 20 meter band. It doesn't seem to be, the calibration doesn't seem to be equal across the spectrum. So you need to recalibrate from time to time. That's one of the things that I've noticed a lot. Now, also the things that I noticed is, and that could be part of the calibration problem, it's firmware. So the reviews I've seen, the firmware version is 3302. This one has a calibration of a firmware version of 3303. So there's a small bump. They fixed a few things. But there are some aspects of some of the settings and things you want to do that actually erase when you shut it down and when you use it the next morning. I think calibration could be part of the problem there, but it's not just that. Tuning capability is really nice. It's almost as good as, not as good, but almost as good as the Tecsun PL-990X, because it tunes into the 10th of an hertz. And when you press the step button, there's a little arrow. It tells you, I don't know if you guys can see the arrows right now above the kilohertz. It's right here above kilohertz. And if I press step, and now is just right here above the 10th of hertz tuning. So that tells you how precise you're tuning right now. What's interesting is that it gives you 10th of hertz tuning, but if you tune fast enough, it's going to actually switch to tuning to 50 hertz at a time. So you'll get a faster tuning if you want to. There's a lot of hidden features in this radio, and one of the biggest problems right now is that the manual is in Chinese. So the hidden features, what's kind of nice is that a lot of the hidden features of the 990 actually are the same buttons and the same way of doing things on the 330. So there's a lot of the tuning, and I got actually a chart from one of the testers on shortwavelistening.com that has a PDF chart of the hidden features. A lot of hidden little features in here. One of them is that if you press the correct button, the internal ferrite, because there's an external antenna connector here, internal ferrite actually disconnects, and you can actually use an outboard antenna, even for long wave, medium wave. That's kind of nice. Sensitivity wise, it's great. It receives everything. But if I tune and compare with an XH Data D808, I will prefer the XH Data D808. It often is maybe a little stronger, and audio is a little better and makes it more interesting to listen to. So if I had to compare this with the XH Data D808 for tuning around and listening to signals, apart from the fact that this tunes SSB better and more accurately than the D808, program listening of shortwave broadcasts is better on the D808. And if you don't mind the fact that you'll use a fine tuning button, single sideband broadcasts sound a little better also. The receiver has sync detection. Funniest part of that is that it's not great, but it actually is better than 909X, which makes me laugh because it's like, what? This one doesn't unlock as easily as the 909X, and it's kind of weird that it is like that. That said, it isn't the best sync detection ever. But you got to keep in mind that you're in a $79 radio. You're a sub $100 radio, which is pretty surprising for what it does. Has a very weird bug that I've never seen. So when you tune single sideband, going upper sideband, you tune up towards your signal, and the pitch goes down towards the 0 beat that you want. Same thing for the lower sideband, you go down until 0 beat. Sometimes it just is reversed. So you'll be in the lower sideband, and instead of going down towards the frequency, you're actually going up. And it's like, what? This is so weird. It's reversed. Everything's reversed. And this is probably a firmware bug because it's very, very weird. The display, of course, is a standard display of Tecsun with signal to noise ratio. Clock has seconds. That's kind of nice. Frequency, it's a very nice display, honestly. Light, the backlight can stay on. So when you press the 5 button and hold it, it actually turns on and says on. And you have to do it every time because next time you turn on the radio, it's not there. One of the features that's really, really cool is the Etm Scan. So this is one of the first radios that uses Etm Plus, which is an upgraded version of the easy tuning mode. What does that do? So when you press the Etm button on the radio, it actually gives you a so let me just be in AM mode here. I'm just gonna this, and here we go, Etm. It actually will tell you temporarily on the top here. It's going to tell you which bank. There's 24-hour bank ETM in here. ETM Plus, what it does is that when it starts scanning for frequencies, it actually stores them in frequency banks that are temporary. But what's nice with this one, the Plus version, is that if you scan once an hour, the banks are shifted. There's 24 banks for 24 hours that will keep every hour of ETM scan that you did, which is kind of nice. That means you tune at 0 UT with the ETM scan, stores 45 frequencies. You tune at 0100, it's going to be in a separate bank that's called 01. And it's going to have whatever, 54 stations, whatever it finds. That means after a 24-hour scan, you actually will know every hour what were the strongest stations you had, and you can go through the banks and go through the stations every hour if you don't do a scan anymore. This is kind of a really nice new option of what easy tuning mode is all about. Um, it has some glitches, and the way that it operates that need to be fixed. It's obviously software glitches, so firmware updates will be needed before this actually works. Now, tuning is nice. The buttons feel nice. It clicks a little bit when you tune, but it's actually, good feel. There's a good feel about it. It's a small portable. It is the size of a PL-380, but thinner. Honestly, it's thinner. If I had to say an overall thing about it, if I should buy an XH Data D808 instead of this or whatever, I still think the XH Data D808 beats it because of its audio quality and maybe slightly better sensitivity. That said, if the PL-330's bugs were fixed in firmware updates and that it really, really works well, I think the PL-330 could potentially and eventually become one of the best portable radios out there, especially for the price that it's sold. There's not a lot of $79 radios out there that has sync detection, single sideband, ETM scan, and keypad entry, and that does it so well and so precisely also because you actually tune to the 10th of hertz on it. So honestly, it's an amazing piece of equipment. If I would have to say, do you want to have a C crane or this? If airband is not a problem, if having weather is not a problem, you just want a good radio, this is better than a C crane CC Skywave SSB, especially if they fix the bugs out of it. It's more precise, even though I don't know if it's a firmware fix that it can do to have the single sideband calibration work better. But if it is, that would be, and this would be actually an amazing portable radio. So if I would say to anybody that wants to have one, if you have the money and you don't care, if you get it, you're going to be happy already. I am, honestly. But it has glitches and it needs firmware updates to fix them. And if that is a problem, wait. Don't buy it now because it needs fixes. But overall, I'm extremely surprised at this little radio. And for sensitivity is pretty much as good as any other radio. I need to test it a little more. I did seem to see that the XH Data D808, for example, was a little more sensitive, maybe, but I'm wondering if it's sensitivity or audio quality that just brought the station a little better. But anyways, a lot of videos are going to be posted. I wanted to do a lot of them in the last 48 hours, but because of the situation and how complicated it is, I had a hard time trying to find time to do it. But you guys are going to see some videos with this. I'm going to compare it to the XH Data. I'm going to compare it to the C Crane. I'm going to compare it to the Tecsun PL-990X. And last but not least, about the 990X, because I see a lot of people asking that question. Why is there one version with an X and one version no X? It's simple. The X version is an export version, will include a power supply adapted for the export market in your area. So mine has a power brick that is pluggable here. If I had not the X version, it would be from another market. The power adapter would need to have an adapter to actually plug here. But for the rest, the 990 and 990X are the same radio. It's the accessories that are packed in the box that change. And that's all. So and be wary because I was looking at Amazon. Amazon has a 990, and a lot of and the complaints that there is, well, there's no battery inside. Yeah, Amazon sells it without battery. Be wary of that, because all the versions I've seen on Amazon do not include the batteries, because the shipper or the shipping companies they use will not want to ship with lithium ion batteries. So and anyways, Amazon sells it for 200. I saw the prices on Amazon, $270. And Onco has it for 235. Gives you the batteries too. Come on. So I don't know. It's kind of interesting to see. So that's the first part. And we're going to go to the chat room, try to catch up a little, and talk about the HD radio. And by the way, if anybody has questions, just ask. Just ask. Okay. Larry Cordy from New York. Nice to have you here. What else do we have? What else do we have? Matt says we had a C-class flare at 2000. Came really close to being M-class. Yeah, that sunspot, one of the sunspots on the sun is really huge. So it could actually flare up in the next, and it's growing actually. So it could actually flare up quite soon, actually. Colin Cook, Thunder Bay, Ontario. Nice to have you here, my friend. I'm in Montreal, Quebec, Canada. And segment from Northwest Georgia. Hello, Northwest Georgia from East Ridge, Tennessee. Sorry, I didn't read it well. Okay. Joe Tyson, 330, not using AA's. Yeah, it's too thin for AA's. If they had to put batteries in here, they would have had to use AA's. And I guess that's the reason why they've been using the PL-5C battery for sure. What's the latest with bed bugs situation? Well, there's going to be a second treatment. I don't have any bed bugs here, but there's going to be a second spraying in a week from now, week and a half. Nick says, I like that the PL-880 uses a stock off-shelf 18650 lithium ion cell. It could be nice to walk in regular alkaline batteries or rechargeable AA cells, but 18650s are cheap and very much available. Yeah, but you got to think about one thing for sure. If you have spares and everything, I got tons of them here. So honestly, I know I'm not going to miss power. I would be able to run my radios with the 18650 for more than a week on the batteries I have here. I just have a hard time. That it's if you go camping or you go out of a big city, that's where 18650s are kind of harder to find, and it's kind of complicated. Mad Radio DXer says, so you're saying the D808 is more sensitive than the PL-330 for AM broadcasters, or it just sounds better? That's where I am. I'm not sure exactly. The D808 sounded more sensitive and more powerful, and the same AM broadcasting of shortwave station, for example. But my question that I still haven't answered, honestly, and that's where my real official review will be there. Is it just because of the audio? Or is it really because it was more sensitive? My first impression was that it wasn't just the audio, that the D808 was a little more sensitive. But I'll have that more precisely when I test it a little more than I did right now. Dilip Bapat, please tell me BLC5 battery performance. Well, I haven't used it a full day, but it seems to be very good in terms of how long the battery lasts on the radio. I would guess that it means the receiver doesn't really um, um, take a lot of batteries. Honestly, it seems to be pretty good. Battery life seems to be good. Elite Dits, you've come across a radio channel, shortwave radio channel, where you talk about radios and radio in general, and international broadcasts. What else do we have? Crazy Nordlander. Once this radio gets official release, where can I buy it? I'm Minnesota. Usually, what's going to happen? What's going to happen is that when it's released officially, the first seller to get it is a seller that's pretty good, which is a Nonco, ANONCO, and after a while, usually we start seeing sellers on Amazon selling it also. Joe says, how many HD stations in your area? And that's going to be the interesting thing when I talk about the radio for a second. I'm just going to go down the chat and I'm going to talk about HD radio. Colin Cook, do you have any advice on minimizing interference from Wi-Fi? Interference in general is a big plague. You know, I got a new 70-inch TV here from Samsung, and I noticed that my noise level just went up because of the TV. Electronics around us is the plague of shortwave radio, and we've got to understand that we live in a high RF environment. So, of course, the best thing you could do is try to have an outdoor antenna if possible, first of all. Having the antenna as far away from your home is the best thing you can do. That said, it's also difficult outside. You know, I got a 75 feet, 80 feet ish sloper in the backyard. Noise is a huge problem there. That's where getting, I talk about the MLA-30 loop. And the MLA-30 loop is probably the best bet for anybody that has high noise because it's not very expensive, $40-ish. And it might help in radio listening. This is where it's very complicated to try to help people. How do you help someone that has noise that isn't, you know, your next door neighbor? I mean, our hobby is being killed by noise much more than anything else. And I'm pretty sure a lot of hams and a lot of shortwave listeners abandoned their hobby because they didn't get anything because of the noise level around them, unfortunately. So maybe that could be, but try to position the radio differently. I always talk about how here in my home, my kitchen is the quietest place. So when my portable's in the kitchen, I actually can get some broadcasts. Moving around room to room, trying to identify what in your house might be a noise problem. What power adapter from whatever device could create a lot of noise. Then it's moving outside, trying to get an antenna outside, far from your home, well, as far as possible. That could help a lot. But it's a very complex situation to explain and help people. Shady Pyro 90, nice to have you on board. Yeah, Joe, I think that's the problem is the AAAs would not have the same power as the BL5C battery. Absolutely. JDX, what's your radios? I heard the bedbug spray is bad for electronics. Yeah, well, you know. I can rebuy radios. I'd rather have, but it's no problem. Should do Pyro 90. Carlos Aguila says a BL5C is a deal breaker for me. Yeah, it depends on the radio. Depends on the radio. Depends on whatever it is. That's for sure. That's for sure. Keegan, last I checked, Radio Shack in Fayetteville, Arkansas has the Sanjian HDR 14 radio. So we're gonna do a little. Okay. Canadian Radio TV guy enjoying the show tonight with some Delicioso pizza and some Pepsi. Enjoy, my friend. Kind of cool. Carlos, yes, it's a Macintosh Plus on the top of the shelf, and it has the 40 megabytes hard drive just under it. Cool, Colin Cook. Yogi, nice to have you here. Have you tried your HD radio with the Tecsun AN200 loop? Yes, of course I have. So here's the thing. I this week have decided to get to the world of HD radio. And the reason why is very simple. Is last week I was preparing for the International Radio Report recording with Sheldon Harvey. And so the FCC in the US has approved the capability of stations in the US to actually do HD and change their broadcast to HD, full HD. So I've heard about HD radio for a while. In Europe, you guys have DAB Plus and DAB, which is very different, by the way, and that also is something we're going to talk about. So when I was reading the article, I thought, you know what? I'm going to buy an HD radio. What's available out there? I had seen Radio J Allen's review of this portable radio, and which is this portable radio. And that's where I decided to get this one. It's a small portable, but it does HD. So in North America, we have HD radio, which is very, very different from what Europe has as DAB. So in North America, this does not work for Europe. So European listeners or people around the world outside of North America don't get this. This is HD radio as North America has it. What it does is that here we have decided into a format of HD that is at the same frequency range of regular broadcasts. And what it does is that on the side of the broadcast, there's a digital stream. So FM stations here in Canada and the US and Mexico, what they do, if they want to be HD, they have the regular stream, but on each side, they have a data stream that has different broadcasts. So it uses the same frequency range and the same bandwidth to give us HD. AM does the same thing. AM radio stations in HD have, with their carrier, a digital stream. DAB and DAB Plus in Europe has a different frequency range. It's not the same thing. Here we have decided in North America that the same stream has also analog. So, for example, if this radio locks off of HD because the signal's too weak, you're not losing the station. It actually transitions to the analog signal. And when the digital signal is strong enough, it will transition back to HD. There's an audio side to it that it shows. and there's a audio. Sometimes there's kind of a weird echo. So look at that. That's cute. That's cute. I'm gonna try to show you guys how cute this is. Mr. Paul just put his paw on my lap. So let me just try to show Mr. Paul correctly here, even if I can't. And here's Mr. Paul. Mr. Paul saying hello. Hello to everybody. Look at that little cat. He's cute. He's really cute. Look at that. That's cat love. It's really cat love at its best. So, okay, let's go back to what I was talking about instead of talking about cat love. Sorry, guys. Okay, so anyways, digital in North America is different from Europe. So don't buy in Sangean HDR14 if you're in Europe, because you're not in the same digital mode than here we are. This is one of the best in its class of portable radios that can actually tune HD. And what's nice is I've done a lot of discoveries. So what's in HD in Montreal? Just to give you guys an idea. On the AM band, nothing. And something. And what does that mean? So, for example, in the AM band, CJ80-800 and TSN Sports 690 are, if you search for HD radio in Montreal, are stated to be digital HD radio. But the problem is, it's not on the M band they do it. They actually smooch off the FM digital HD radio. So the only AM digital stations that I've been able to actually tune around with this when tuning is 1210, which is WPHT in Philadelphia. So it's one of the only stations that actually does. So you can see here, I think it's flashing HD here. This is one of the only stations that actually does trigger HD here. And WTIC 1180, and I think it's Hartford, Connecticut. So these two stations are the only AM radio stations that I get in HD when the signal's strong enough. It's not always HD. It tells me HD in the display, but the stations need to have real strong signals. But when they do, man, it's amazing the clarity of the signals. So there's no HD AM in Montreal. But why do they say CJ80-800 and TSN 690 is in HD? Because they smooch off the FM HD. So here's the thing. If I go to 107.3, sorry, which is CT FM HD, and it says here, it's going to lock on to its HD signal. Here we go. This is HD. Now, they have usually music. So that's music. But now, I'm going to go to the HD2.
Cities would burn down. Like if you said, hey, why don't we have young girls' tubes tied when they were young, and then they can reverse them if they prove they won like a cotton.
That is CJ80-800 HD, but it's smooching off 107.3 FM in the HD2 channel. And
disclaimer,
TSN 690. This is smooching off also the same. 690 TSN is not digital HD on AM. they decided to use digital HD FM off another station.
1972. Call for a quote or visit JohnGrayMoving.com. And by Bella Pietra, your home for made-to-measure countertops, ceramic tiles, and mosaics in St. Leonard in Greenfield Park. The Masters on TSN 690.
The new CTV series Be Positive is a comedy.
So,
your average.
This is kind of interesting. And I was a little disappointed. I was expecting the AM stations to be HD. That's what I was when I saw that on the HD page. Montreal HD stations would be CJ80 800 and TSN 690. I thought I can't wait to hear how well they are on their frequency. Nope, they're not doing it on AM. And I know that in the United States, they're not doing it on AM for a lot of broadcasters, which is actually telling me that new regulation of AM stations HD, a load of crap. The AM band is dying. It's going to die even faster because they're all going to do exactly that. Use FM streams, because what's happening is that if you give 3 or 4 streams capability to one FM signal, that means the FM band is not exploding with different streams. That means all the AM stations can just have some kind of talk with an FM broadcaster and say, hey, can I be HD on one of your feeds of HD? And that's what's going to happen. It's kind of interesting because it made me look into a new perspective of what HD and what radio is all about finally. So AM stations in Montreal chose to be on some other broadcaster. I am happy with one thing really cool. So here in Montreal, there's a lot of interference, so you guys don't hear it really well. So you guys don't really hear much. There's more interference than anything because of the all the computers around. So 107.9 is VPR Vermont, Burlington, Vermont here. What I find really cool is that on HD3, they have 24 hours BBC World Service, and I'm so happy with that. So anyways, things like that are kind of cool. There's a station on 103.3 that is CHAA. It actually has a country music station on HD2. Kind of cool. There's no country music station really in on the FM band here in Montreal, so it's kind of nice. Now, one of the things that maybe I'm a little yes and no. I'm actually happy. Let's put it bluntly. I'm happy of this radio. I'm totally happy with this radio, and I'm happy to have jumped into the HD capable receivers. I would have. Maybe it's because there's a lack of strong stations. Because a lot of people are telling me, when I bought it and when I got it, a lot of people said, "Oh, you won't DX with that. You won't get stations." Okay, well, I did kind of a little bit. WTIC 1080 and 1210 Philadelphia. I got HD, which means when it's strong enough, DX is possible. So that answers the question. Did you use the AN200 loop with it? Absolutely. And when I do, 1210 and 1080 are HD almost all the time because it amplifies the AM signal, including, of course, the AM digital HD signal. So an AN200 and this, yes, the more HD AM radio stations will be out there, the more I will get some DX out of all of that. So that's pretty much what I have to say. But I'm extremely happy to have jumped into the HD sphere of receivers. Okay, what else do we have? What else do we have? Stephen Wood from Cape Cod. Nice to have you here, my friend. Dilip Babats, SSB performance as compared to the D808 and CC Skywave. I have both, doing great. VU3UEL. It's more precise on that side. So it's kind of nice. But you know what? They're all good at what they do. VT Radio, nice to have you here. AA1SU in Essex Junction, Vermont. Nice to have you here. Throne Punch, Apollo 1 Fire Center reports is for sale on Bart Sibbles channel for 200 right now. Oh man. What else do we have? Mad Radio DX. I never heard HD radio transmission in Europe. Only DRM on medium wave. When a national French station did an experimental broadcast, DAB radio is getting more popular here, so no chance of HD radio. Yeah, it's a very different thing. Joseph, you know what? It's a very complex thing. I was reading about DAB, about HD, about each have a lack of quality because of the way they are designed. And it's kind of interesting. So HD on basically what is sidebands of FM or AM has one flaw, is that you're using the same bandwidth. So that data stream has to be a certain size. That stream also means it might not be of the best quality, especially on AM. On FM is not too bad because here in North America, FM bandwidth is bigger than Europe. So it does give good audio in general. In AM, it sounds like when it's good, but it does sound like, remember listening to audio streams when you were using a 56K modem. It has that 56 K modem-ish quality. I mean, it improves upon the AM signal because it removes the noise around it. It removes the static, and it becomes clearer. It still sounds like a 56K stream. It's not top quality. It's not CD quality on AM. Yes, Carlos, there's metadata that goes with it. So, for example, when I tune 1210, it actually gives me the call letters of the station. And it gives me some information. So technically, you could have in what is a perfect stream, song, the song, the artists, the everything would be in that data. Absolutely. So, you know. Joe says gets 1210 in Virginia. Logan Mack, I love you too. So, you know, it's kind of interesting. It's kind of a very interesting thing. And I am learning a lot of this radio and HD radio experiment. So John Jones, 1120 KMOX, does broadcast HD on AM. So I'm going to continue actually testing it because it's definitely a very interesting thing. And I'm having a lot of fun. So yes, KMOX does come in to Montreal. So I'm going to try that one too. I want to try to find more. Right now, I've only heard 1180 WTIC and 1080, sorry, WTIC and 1210 WPHT out of Philadelphia. I would like to have more, and I will continue pairing the radio with my Tecsun AN200 to amplify the AM signal. It's funny because I like the fact that I get HD channels on FM, but I'm so much more excited and more interested in getting HD signals on AM. I mean, if you guys saw the video on the channel when 1210 came strong enough, it was amazingly clear and nice. The audio was great for an AM station. I mean, I was locked on to an HD signal. That was great. So we're going to try to do more of that. Some tell me, oh, you're not going to get it. On some forums, there are some guys that are DXing HD AM. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see for sure. Joseph, I'd rather deal with fading than the crappy 56K modem clipping sound. Well, there's no modem clipping sound, that's for sure. Yeah, Mad Radio DX are exactly like the good old days of Real Player. You know what? From time to time, when it actually gets into HD, it's like it sounds like that. It sounds like, well, it's like the internet in 1999. Part of it is that. That's for sure. That's for sure. Hey, Gordon Lyle, nice to have you here from Southern Illinois, listening to the show while I was working on his car in the garage. Cool, nice to have you here. Mr. Magic Man, appreciate you taking time and talk and educate those just getting into a hobby. Now, that's kind of cool, you know? That's what I want to do. Hey, V3KRP Fast Eddie, nice to have you here from Ontario. Keegan has Northwest Arkansas 1210 is KGYN, or in Oklahoma, or KUBR in San Juan, Texas. So you know, I am happy to have done the purchase. The question is, will HD radio really pick up steam and be something? That's where I'm wondering. You know, we talked about it on the International Radio Report, and what I was saying particularly is how I you know, thinking that HD radio will save radio in general is simplistic, and not understanding why people don't listen to AM anymore, which is much more due to, one, their noise level, two, crappy programs that no one wants to listen to, you know. So it's nice. The HDC capability is cool. The info that you have in the radio is nice. You click info, gives you all sorts of information. I am very happy with the HDR 14. If you're looking for a portable, not too expensive, that is sensitive enough and good enough to do it, just get the HDR 14. And you'll be surprised at what it could do. And it has the same GN quality to it. Has a little stand here, of course. Has FM stereo through the earpiece. Comes with a power adapter, by the way. So if you're looking for, you know what? If you're looking to buy a kitchen radio, it might be small, but it comes with a power adapter. This could be the main kitchen radio. You just plug it in with a power adapter. Interesting, power adapter does not add any noise to the radio. And of course, it does have a kind of a ferrite on the power adapter cord, but it doesn't seem to add any interference. So if you're looking for a kitchen radio, you know what? The HDR 14 with the power adapter included could be a very nice little portable to do so. And you'll have an HD radio. So if anything HD is in your vicinity, it's going to be nice. And it's fun to see the different streams. I like the fact that, you know, I can listen to, so here, for example, just to give you an idea, okay, I'm going to go back to the FM band. I'm going to click, so here I'm going to click HD button. So the HD button scans the FM band for anything HD that it can actually get. So it goes through the frequencies. And if it does find something HD, it's going to stop and it's going to tell me, okay, something is HD. So here it's telling me, and probably the 95.1, yeah. 95.1 HD, which is the CBC French. Okay. And there's a little plus here. So if it's just HD, it means there's only one stream in HD. Plus means there's more than one stream on this HD channel. So here we have the CBC French 95.1.
Le jour de l'indépendance du Québec, c'est-à-dire du référendum. Oui. Et c'est pour ça, apparemment, que vous avez...
So that's in HD. But if I move up to HD2, so you guys are going to see it move up to HD2, it's the CBC with classical music. So now that's the classical music side of HD. So HD2. So you can have HD, HD1, HD2, and HD3, which is in the total of 4 different HD signals when it scans. Same thing. So if I go through and continue, I'll have the next station, I think is going to be 103.3, something like that, CHAA. There we go. So CHAA, it's locking on. It's locking on. Now it says HD plus, so it locked on. So this is CHAA with music going up. Same frequency, but with an HD2 feed of country music. So that is what's happening. And you can continue seeking. It's going to go on to 107.3, where I'll have Cité FM, which is also known, I believe, as Rouge FM here in Montreal. Now it's locked on, HD, and it's going to tell me that there's, that's 105.7 CFGL. We'll move on. This one doesn't have any other streams, so that's only that. So 103, it's going to lock on. It's going to say HD plus, meaning there's more than one station. So this is Cité or Rouge FM 107.3, regular type pop station, but that's where CJ80 800
and watch 100.
CJ80 800 is.
Anyhow, they say, look, we believe the 2030 bid would have everyone's support.
So that's CJ80 on HD2 and TSN 690.
776. Happiness is this word on Wednesday after election Tuesday, thanks to these 3 letters.
So that's
And Antonio Brown spoke about his
TSN 690 AM that is actually being rebroadcast through the feed of FM. That's why I think AM is not getting that much support on what is HD. Because even here in Montreal, CJ80 and CJ80 and TSN 690, the 2 only AM stations in the Montreal area that could do HD, have decided to do it on an FM station. And they both use an HD channel on a 107.3 station. So that means they decided it was better to do that than to actually do it on their own AM frequency, which is kind of very interesting. And it tells me that this is going to kill AM. So that means HD might actually accelerate AM decline rather than help it. Yeah, Bobby, I bought it on Amazon. 89 Canadian dollars here. I bought it on Amazon. HDR Sanjian HDR 14. Absolutely, Joe. This is exactly the reason why. Absolutely. Why upgrade your equipment when you actually can use somebody else's equipment and broadcast? And not just that. Like I was saying, AM digital sounds like a 56K modem digital stream of 2000, when FM HD digital sounds almost CD quality because the bandwidth is bigger. So why purchase new equipment, upgrade equipment, pay the money for better but still subpar quality when you can use an FM broadcaster that might have the capability and say, you know what, let's work a deal and we're going to stream through you with much better quality and we'll be in HD and everything's going to be in FM. What I see here, and you know what, I'll put my hand in the fire here. We are 2020. I am predicting that FCC's HD proposal is going to kill AM even faster than it's going to help it. Dr. Sisop says HD radio is ending as too costly to run, and FCC may allow DAB plus radio. FCC is not doing DAB plus right now because it's really focusing on the fact that it's allowing HD radio. And for DAB plus, we need to have the FCC say, here's a new band for broadcasting. And we're not there yet. We're not there yet. Joe says, also, right now, other than people like us on this channel, I don't know anyone who has an HD radio unless it came in their vehicle. You know, on the International Radio Report last Sunday, we talked about that. And by the way, hello, Sheldon Harvey. Nice to have you here. We talked about that. And my first comment was, because they mentioned that there were apparently 70 million HD capable receivers. 70 million. My first impression of that number was in cars, because I don't know anybody that has an HD radio in the home. You know, I even have a hard time finding somebody that has a radio in his home. So even less an HD radio in your home. So the first thought that I have is, you know what? They're all in their cars. Where do you have the most advanced? Honestly, think about it. Where do you have the most advanced radio receiver for AM, FM, and other types like, you know, satellite, like XM radio, for example, or Sirius XM? Where is all of that? It's in the car. The car is the only place where people have a recent receiver, much more than in their homes. You know, we're not talking about us guys. Us guys are a world apart of the reality of what the world is. We are very different. You know, I bought an HD radio knowing what HD is technically, and I didn't even know half of it until I got a radio. What we understand is, you know what? I think it's in the car. People have that in their cars and their trucks, much more than anything else. And that's what I think, honestly. And that's where we reach each other, Joe. Ronald Zakula, nice to have you here. What else do we have? Yeah, but CJAD and CT FM. I don't think there's an. Sheldon could be telling me what's there. 107.3 and CJAD 800. Is there some coincidence? Do they own each other? Is it the same building? Is it the same? Because I have very little knowledge of who owns what in AM or FM radio market in Montreal. Honestly, I'm there. I'm not. I don't have the knowledge. A lot of knowledge there. What else do we have? Carlos, the shorter wavelength, higher frequency, the more data you can. Well, yeah, but we also have to understand it here in Montreal. The FM band is quite wide, so there's some space for data streams on that same spot. Brian Vanderheimer, nice to have you on board. Nice to have you here for sure. Victor Sysop says FMHD is 128K, AM is 64. Yes and no, okay? Because AM HD, I've read that for a lot of broadcasters is actually even lower than 64. It is extremely low data rate. And it sounds low data rate, honestly. Dr. Sissa, most new cars don't even have HD radio, but Sirius XM satellite. They have Sirius XM. I don't have a car, but every time I rented a car in the last 4 years, they do have Sirius XM. But most cars that I've rented, I got to say in the last 2 to 3 years, I did see that they had the HD radio logo on them. So it's kind of interesting. It's very, very it's very interesting, and I'm happy to have done this purchase because it also adds to my knowledge of where the industry is actually going in terms of broadcasting. Yogi says no broadcaster would use 260K DAB plus though. It makes better financial sense to cram in as many stations. Oh, absolutely. I mean, if you look at an FM broadcaster that can have 3 other streams with it, it makes much more sense to have all of that jam-packed in that frequency than to have some new broadcast. Dr. Sisop says, not seen a home or portable HD radio tuner sold anymore. You know, I asked for it. If you just search AM, FM, they don't, most of the places I went to, they don't really talk about HD radio much. They're going to tell you, they're going to sell you a regular AM, FM analog radio, and that's it. Pretty crazy, you know? Pretty crazy. Falstrot, nice to have you here. What breacher below 14 megahertz? Oh, 13845. You're talking about WWCR. That comes in with, like, you know, I think if you had a crystal radio for shortwave, that station would come in here. Just that station would be available on the crystal radio. Kelly Law. I use NRSC5 on my Mac to listen to HD radio. I don't use HD much other than lately. Carlos, people are buying internet web radios. Like, don't you have a tablet, phone? Yeah, but, you know, listening to local radio and stuff like that is like crazy. Ah, that's interesting, Sheldon. Thank you. So, Rouge 1073 is the same owner as CJAD and TSN. That's why they have the same. That's why they have the same stream there. So 107.3 as Rouge FM, as CJD and TSN. So same owner. That means that's why they packed all 3 stations on HD on the same frequency. Cool, Sheldon. Thanks for the info. I was wondering about that because when I listened to 107.3, saw that there was an HD stream and there was other information, and I moved up and I saw CJAD. I was like, what? HD2 is CJAD on FM, and HD3 was TSN. I was like, this is interesting. It's also interesting to note that they're not using AM to do HD. They're using that FM feed for HD. And there's a big difference in the delay. There's like almost 10 seconds of a delay between the 800 AM. You know, just to give you guys an example. So, okay, let's tune 800 So I'm going to go to medium wave here and tune 800 on the medium wave. That's okay. So that's
100%. Especially because of the movie, right?
so that's 800 kilohertz AM. And if I go to the HD radio and we do the same feed, but HD on FM HD2. So here we go. HD. So here's CT. CT HD, HD, HD is going to lock. Here we go.
My wings, Bette Midler. 100%. Especially because.
And you guys are going to hear the difference in quality. Now, there's a little bit of noise, but so this is.
I shouldn't even say this. This can get me. You guys are really going to judge me for this, but I don't care. I'm going to say it. That song that Tim McGraw sings with Faith Hill, and I hate country music.
Gives me chills and tears. Old song never fails to get to me. That from Tony.
I can't remember.
John, I like heavy metal to chop.
Something about love.
Sometimes the meaning.
I just think a husband and a wife singing that song together is so romantic, and it makes me tear up a bit. Like I wish I could sing a song like that, and my wife could sing a song. What's that song name? Somebody tell me that song. Tim McGraw, Faith Hill, is singing "Something About Love."
You guys are really going to judge me for this, but I don't care to say it.
10-800.
That song
51400.
that Tim McGraw
that song kind of
sings
gets
with
me.
Faith Hill. I hate
John,
country
everybody
music.
wants some by Van
That
Halen.
song where they sing to each other.
Great tune.
So what's the name of that song?
Beethoven Moonlight Sonata.
I mean, the delay is pretty big. It's like 10-15 seconds at least, if not more. So you're hearing the same stream, but one of it is HD.
Sing a song like that, and my wife could sing a song. What's that song name?
That will make you feel young again.
And the one on AM.
Take that next step. Call Dr.
So it's kind of interesting. It's kind of interesting to see this when you actually compare that. And it's interesting to see that they decided, why should I put an HD signal on 800 kilohertz AM when I can put it on the FM relay? And Sheldon answered the question. Same owner. So that's why they did that. So that means how many stations out there, even in the US, are owners of both AM and FM relays of maybe different stations? Because I know there's a lot of stations that are broadcasting the same program. But there's a lot of owners that have an FM and an AM. I mean, if you own both an FM and an AM outlet, and you're going to do some HD, why you don't do it on FM? It's going to be even better than whatever quality AM is going to give you, even on HD. You know? It's crazy. Dr. Sisop says, GM Ford not offer HD radio of any models today. And there was a kind of a down peak, because I remember when IBOC digital hash started a few years ago, a lot of stations jumped on it and said, hey, let's go HD. And a lot of stations came back and like, no more HD. It's kind of a downturn to that. Shelly, nice to have you here from Pennsylvania. And not feeling good tonight. You know what? We're here for that. I hope that it can comfort you to have us all around and talk about radio. And do stay safe and do take care of yourself. Okay, Shelly? I think when one of us does not feel right for any reason, we like to take care of each other, okay? So please do take care of you and make sure that everything is all right. REDF 196 HD is the modern day AM stereo. Yeah, kind of, eh? It does feel like that. I still remember two things. I remember when AM stereo was supposed to be the thing. I still remember seeing maybe one or two AM stereo capable radios at Radio Shack. not knowing of anybody that ever owned one, though. You know. Joe says my Chevy truck has HD. My last one had whoops, lost it. My last one, man, I lost it. So here we go. HD, and my last one had an amazing AM radio. So you know what? One of my best memories is that a lot of car radios were just amazing. Joe says most people are used to compressed music since most of what we listen to are MP3. My daughter has no idea how good an LP sounds compared. You know, one of the things is if you guys remember, in the good old days, we had something called hi-fi. When we looked at a stereo system or looked at a anything that had audio and it said high fidelity, hi-fi, we knew that that was superior audio quality. When I purchased my first stereo system, because they were called stereos back then, still in 1990, I remember it was Fisher Studio Standard, and the quality of that was crazy. And I remember later reading an article where they were mentioning how people buy iPhones or these MP3 devices that are top quality, but we listen to compressed music that actually is crappier in audio fidelity than what we ever seen earlier, and how nobody cares really. I remember telling one of my friends, I remember my first iPhone, because you know I got a Galaxy S20 today. I don't want to have anything to do with Apple anymore. That's my thing. It's as a tech guy that I am. This is a S20 5G phone that I'm extremely happy with. But apart from that, and we're not talking about that right now. We're talking about how this this, whatever it is, whatever company it is from, whatever allegiance you are to, I remember telling a friend of mine, have you noticed how the earbuds and the audio quality of these things are crappy compared to what we used to do with our stereo systems and with high fidelity audio systems? And I understood one thing is that we went to the audio quality that was top here, and we got these things that gives us audio quality that's like, it's okay. And what you understand is that today, the generation listening to music is okay with sound rather than amazing sound. And I have noticed that a lot in the past 20 years. It's like, okay, so you're okay with just sound rather than high quality sound. I thought we would go into higher quality and better quality as time goes by. And now you're like, nope, it's not. It's actually getting worse, or at least just okay. It's not even good. It's okay. And what you understand is people just want to listen to music, and having top-notch quality audio is not part of what they want. They just want to have the music, and that's it. I mean, it's not crappy how it sounds today. But you notice that high fidelity, high quality sound that for a long time we craved for is, well, it's not important anymore. As long as they hear Lady Gaga's latest hits, I don't really care. It's like, oh, okay, that's okay. You know, it's like, okay, thank you. That's what it is. That radio here is a Sangean HDR14. I'm going to show you guys the box. Purchased on Amazon. So this is the HD radio. It's for a portable radio. It doesn't have top quality sound, but for an HD radio, it's one of the best rated portables for HD. So Sangean HDR14 is the radio. Dr. Sisop says, before I left Georgia, they shut down the HD stations there. A lot of stations on HD shut down. Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, nobody has HD radios, and they're spending money to upgrade for that. Joe says, we have 3 country FM stations in my area and all play the same stuff. Look, it's like the FM stations in Montreal. You wonder why one station is not as popular as the other one when you actually don't even know. If I blindfold you and you didn't know what station you're listening to, it's the same thing. It's like, what? Dr. Sisop says the cost of running it in HD radio, not many rural areas, but in metro areas, you get them. Yeah. Thomas Olson, by the way, when the AM and FM are mutually owned, the FM HD can help fill in dead spots for AM signals. Dr. Sisop, US and Canada, only countries that use HD radio. Yeah, the rest of the world, I know. The rest of the world is using DAB Plus, which does use a separate frequency range. It's not here. We're the only ones that have chosen HD that share the same frequencies. So, you know. No, it's not. No, it doesn't work like that. Keegan says the Todd FM fills in the dead spots for AM signals. No, it's very very weird what's happening. Yep, there's upgraded DRM30. There's all sorts of things that happen there. So I don't know. We're going to see what's going to happen with that. You know, everything's far away. Dr. Sisop, you know, the FCC just agreed upon HD like it is now. I mean, I can't even see why, what all that's going to do, basically. Carlos, everything today sounds clear but flat. Back in our day, it was surround sound. You could hear it. Yeah, well, back in our day, we wanted to have the best audio possible. You know, that's the thing. Keegan, I could play one of Justin Bieber's hits to drive the bot away. Blind Picker, Rob, nice to have you here from Connecticut. Nice to have you on board. Thank you very much. And love you to be here and be a part of this show, my friend. Does your HD radio... whoops, I lost this. So, RJD Dakota, I've not heard that FM could be expanded. It could. A lot of radios today go down to 64, but you know. Yes, old radio man. HD radio does play through stereo through headphones. Absolutely. Even on the AM band. So if you do have AM capable HD receivers and stations in your area, through the headphones, you will have stereo audio, even on AM HD. Dr. Sisop, HDR14 is 80, not worth it. No, it is. It is. Honestly, I paid Canadian 89 bucks, and I totally am happy, and it is worth. It's surprising. It's surprising. But that, again, is, do you want to listen to AM and FM, and do you have HD around you? Because, you know, paying that amount of money for a radio that will not get much, of course, it's not worth it. But here I would say I am totally happy with it. And it is Sangean class quality. It feels quality, looks quality, works really well for what it is, honestly. Madrid the Xer. I am in a national lockdown here in England already last month. Here we are, possibly getting into a lower lockdown. So restaurants might open soon. Might. But man, let's not talk about that too much. It's depressing. What else do we have? So yeah, old radio man, the HDR14 play stereo on the headphones. Absolutely. If you have HD stuff around you, it's worth it. Where I'm a little disappointed is on how it, I thought I could be DXing more HD. Although, like I said, 1080 WTIC in Hartford, Connecticut. And the WPHT in Philadelphia, both are coming in HD on the radio when I scan. Basically. Far too many gadgets. Nice to have you here. Do you still have too many gadgets? Or did you ever think you have too many gadgets? Nice to have you on board. Ubiquity's in-band HD is what you get when the regular FCC caters to rebroadcast and financial interests. Yeah, I know. That's what it's going to be. Absolutely. RJ, the Dakota, what about alternatives to HD? Any there alternatives to HD in the USA? Not really right now, honestly. Keegan, HDR14, $99 at Radio Shack in Fayetteville, Arkansas, last checked. So it's kind of expensive at 99 because I paid 89 Canadian on Amazon. That means it is or should be around 70-ish US dollars if you want to have the same price. Kind of interesting. Madrid the Xer, agreed. When I hear COVID talking on the radio, I turn it off straight away. Yeah, it's kind of it's depressing. Sheldon Harvey is putting the final touches to the November 2020 CIDX Messenger. Be sent out to members later tonight or tomorrow. So remember. That means that you need to ask for a sample copy if you ever or never have to. Asked. You know what? The CIDX, Canadian International DX Club Messenger, is a monthly bulletin, electronic, and it's really, really cool. If you want to learn more about radio, it's a great, very professionally made club bulletin. You don't have to be Canadian. There's all sorts of things from around the world and from radio and all different kinds. So why not check it out? CIDXclub@yahoo.com. You can check it out on the CIDX.ca website, have all the information, and why not join and have fun being not only getting a bulletin of electronic publication every month, but part of a club. You're part of a gang of radio enthusiasts. Dr. Sisop, 880 WCBS, I believe, has stopped doing HD. Or if it does do HD, it does it on FM. That's where also I was surprised and learned a lot, is that while I was actually searching on Google for HD stations on AM, so here in Montreal, CJ80, TSN 690 are on the FM relay. I learned that a lot of US medium wave or AM stations do the same thing. They relay HD on an FM relay there, which is kind of interesting. Keegan, HDR14, $72 on Amazon. So that is about the price I paid Canadian, basically. So what's happening right now, Matt Radio DXer, is that the FCC has approved AM HD for stations that want to do it. That's not DAB. It's HD the way we do it. So an AM signal with HD, or even they now are actually approving HD only signal on the AM band. So it's the same frequencies we already use that will have some digital stuff. But for now, DAB is not even talked about. Kamagzi 76, there's no such thing as too many gadgets. I totally agree. Totally agree. Take care, Thomas Olson. Nice to have you here. RJDA Dakota or KMOX turned off its HD signal. For a long time, a lot of the HD was kind of almost interfering with each other. And I think some of the HD turnoff was because of that, of interference to other stations. Joe says the only way HD will work if all radios are sold with it. Yeah. But the problem is, and that's the other thing, I paid $89 for a radio, AM, FM, with HD on it. Ask anybody around you that wants a radio. Are they gonna pay $90 or $100 for a radio? No. I'm gonna tell you, yeah, I got that cheap $25 radio. It's enough. I want to listen to my local stations. That's the other thing you got to go through. You got to, well, people want to pay higher price for an HD radio, you know? It's pretty crazy when you think about it and the way that it works. So, hey guys, I've been on for 2 hours and 46 minutes already. I'm a little tired for the day today. I've had a lot of stuff. It's a complicated week in all that's happening. I want to thank you all for being here. Thanks for being great fans. And I hope that everybody enjoyed the show today and a little review of the Tecsun PL-330 and the Sangean HDR14. Take care. Don't forget, if you want to give a little donation, it's, you know, something you can do. PayPal donations are accepted, you know, just for fun. And I'm going to buy more radios if you do. So PayPal. This is the PayPal email. If you ever want to give a little something, please do so. It's always welcome. And I want to thank everybody for being here. It was a great show. It was a great time. It's always fun to be here. We'll be back next Saturday. Saturday at 3 p.m. Eastern, 20 hours Universal Time. And stay safe, everybody. We're going to sign off tonight with the site of what is, I think, an example of what is the most, what is their best representation of being relaxed and, you know, just wanted to, okay, I can't. Sorry, guys. Here we go. Here we go. Almost there. And there we go. Best representation of what a nice evening of sleep probably looks like. Take care, everybody. Stay safe. And see you Saturday at 3 p.m. Eastern, 20 hours Universal Time. And it's always fun to have everybody on board, okay? Take care, everybody. Stay safe, and don't let whatever is happening everywhere get to you. Listen to that radio. The best thing you can do.